Hi y'all, welcome back to another reading vlog. So this week for the reading vlog, I'm going to be reading books that are on my Magical Readathon TBR so that hopefully I can pass the Autumn Equinox semester and go on to my second year as an Archmage. I only recently started in the spring equinox reading all of the books so that I could pass the semesters. Last year I read some books for some classes, but not all of them in order to pass the semester. So this year I made it a priority to actually pass each semester. So this week on the TBR. Okay, so we have a couple of options for books to read for the vlog. So for the prompt of a vertical spine title, I have The Frontrunner by Elsie Silver. Now, I did look up what this book actually looks like, and it does have a vertical spine title. So we could read the last book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. Then I've also started reading Visions of Flesh and Blood, which is the Blood and Ash book 5.5. Now this is a compendium. It's basically recapping what has happened in the first 5 Blood and Ash books and the first 3 Flesh and Fire books. So since I just recently have read all of the books, I know like 95% of this information. There's a little bit of new information in here only because Miss Willa Collins is writing this and she has journal entries interspersed throughout the book. And so that's new information about her. And then there are also additional scenes in here or like additional chapters. So bonus content. I honestly am skipping most of it because I know most of it. So currently I'm on page 130 and I've just been kind of reading this off and on when I've had time. And I'm honestly skipping through a lot of it because I already know most of the information. So honestly, if you're reading through all of the series and you're reading them back to back like I have been, you don't need to read this book. It's really not necessary. Now, if it's been a while since you've read some of the previous books and you're wanting to get back into it, that's a great way to get caught up on literally everything that's going on in the series in a short and concise way. So if you're behind and you've forgotten what's going on, that's a great way. That book is a great way to remind you of all the things that have happened. But if you've recently read all of them, it's really just pretty redundant. I've just been reading this off and on. I'm hoping to get it done, honestly, this weekend because I'm gonna be able to skip most of this because I already know all the information. So that one, I probably won't really talk about in this vlog because it's not going to be any new information, but you know, and I've basically given my synopsis of if you should read it or if you shouldn't read it. So there's that. And that is the book for an auto by author. Then I also have Born of Blood and Ash, and this is the 4th book in the Flesh and Fire series. I've purchased a scroll using my guild reputation points to use one book for 2 prompts. So the 2 prompts that I'm using this book for are a book with the sun on the cover and prime number of letters in the title. So this is another option. This is quite a lengthy book. It is 723 pages. So the sooner I start this, the better. So this is also on the list. And then the last book on the list is Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmerer. And this book is for the 9th book that came up when I was scrolling through my social media. So I screen recorded that on my spinner wheel TBR for September. So if you want to go check that out, I will link the video below. But this is another book that is on the list for Autumn Equinox. And this is the Fairy Loot edition. And it's got these beautiful sprayed edges, solid on the top and bottom, completely redesigned cover. And it's got some really pretty character art and a really pretty naked hardcover. So the naked hardcover And then the end paper art. Now I don't love that it has the signed book plate on there. And then the back. So I'm really excited to read this book. Plus it's a new release. So I'm glad that it got put on the TBR. And this book is 388 pages, so not terribly long. So I think because I'm still reading Visions, that I'm gonna hold off on reading this one until I'm actually done with this. And then I'm gonna start with Warrior Princess Assassin because I'm really excited about reading this one. Let's go ahead and read the synopsis because although I'm excited about it, I don't know a whole lot about what it's about. Who should you trust? Warrior King Maddox Kyronen's fire magic has earned him a ruthless reputation. But now his kingdom is slowly burning, a blaze he cannot control. And his one chance to save it is a marriage alliance with the neighboring royal family of Estranza and their power to manipulate the weather. Who should you love? With war on the horizon, Princess Jory's home needs an alliance. But her family is hiding a dangerous secret. Their magic is fading. When she meets her intended, he sets her heart aflame. And what will he do when he realizes she's deceiving him? Who should you kill? Once a young nobleman causing mischief with Jory in Estranza's palace, Asher is now part of the Hunters Guild. When a lucrative job arises, he can't refuse until he sees the targets. Someone wants King Maddox and Princess Jory dead. Now Asher must decide what he is willing to do to protect the woman he loves and the king she's about to marry. So, love triangle or white shoes? Sounds interesting. So, I'm going to start with Warrior Princess Assassin. And I realized I did forget a book. Earlier today, I just started Murtagh, which is the 5th book in the Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. And this book is on the TBR as a book in the 600 pages. So I rolled the D6 die and I came up with a 6. So to read a book between 600 and 699 pages. And I realized that after I picked my TBR, I actually did the page numbering incorrectly. G from Book Rose, her most recent video, she said that if you roll a 1, it's actually a book with 1 to 100 pages. And then if you roll a 2, it's 100 pages to 200 pages. So my page range is wrong. However, I've already picked my TBR and I've already started the book. So I'm just gonna go with it and it's fine. Like, it's more pages than I was supposed to read anyway, so it's fine. But I started Murtagh earlier today, and I'm about 200, or no. I'm about 2 hours into the audiobook, and I'm liking it so far. So we are following Murtagh and his dragon Thorn after all of the Aragon books have finished, and the war in Alagazy is over. Galbatorix has been defeated, and Aragon is trying to bring peace to the realm. So after the big battle where Galbatorix and his dragon Shrukin died, Murtagh and Thorn left. So because Murtagh had to do some things that other people literally hate him for and call him a traitor, he had to do a lot of stuff that he wasn't proud of, a lot of stuff that he didn't want to do because of Galbatorix and his influence and his hold over them. So him and Thorn basically fled so that they could hopefully go live a more peaceful life and not have to deal with people constantly threatening them because he's a, quote, traitor. Right now we're following Murtagh and he's trying to investigate more about something one of the dragons, one of the Eldonari, said to him at the very end of the book Inheritance. And so he's trying to figure out exactly what that dragon meant and how he can prevent some things from happening. So he's digging into it, and of course, everywhere he goes, something happens and he has to end up like fighting his way out of the situation. So Basically, he left Thorn behind and he went to the city of Siunon to meet with somebody who had some information for him. And that guy didn't want to give him any information. He just wanted more money. And so with circumstances how they were and that other guy threatening somebody else, Murtagh had to kill him and all of his guards and then escape and flee. So that's basically what's happened in the first 2 hours of the audiobook. And it's a rather long audiobook. Well, sort of. I think it's like 25 hours, which isn't nearly as long as Inheritance, but it's still a pretty long audiobook. So I've already started that one and I'm liking it so far, obviously. Murtagh is one of my favorite characters in that series, and I'm really excited to read more about him. And actually my sister said that Murtagh is her favorite book in the series, so super excited to continue that. So I will check back in once I get at least 100 pages into this book and a little bit more into Murtagh. So it's Saturday morning and here for a little mini update. So last night I got into Warrior Princess Assassin and I am on page 40 and y'all, I'm really loving it. I really like it. Like, it's so good. It's so cute. It's so good. And we're like barely into the story, but I'm loving the author's writing. I'm loving where the story is going. So I'm really enjoying it. So since today is Saturday and I don't have a whole lot to do today, I have a few things around the house that I need to do, but no yard work this weekend because I did yard work last weekend, and now that it's getting colder, I don't have to do yard work as often, which is so freaking great. So also my hair is really gross today because I need to wash it, and two, I put scalp oil in it last night so that it could soak in overnight, and so it looks really extra greasy because that's on purpose. So anyway, side tangent. So I'm thinking about doing some sort of reading challenge today. I just am not sure what. I don't know if I'll do like some quote reading sprints or something. I think G from Book Roast did reading sprints, well, at this point, like 2 weeks ago for the first day of Autumn Equinox. So I could turn those on, like the replay on YouTube. And she also has a couple of ambiance videos that are geared towards some of the different classes. So I could try to do something like that. I do better with like timed reading rather than page number reading, because then I keep flipping to the page that I need to get to and being like, oh well, I have 50 more pages to read. Oh, now I have 40 more pages to read, you know, like that. And I just keep checking to see how many more pages I have when I should just be reading, because who cares? Anyway, so I do better with timed reading rather than page number reading. And I've got to plant some more herbs that I finally got the seeds in yesterday, so I got to plant some of those. And then the baseball game's on today. I got to watch the baseball game, which Diamondbacks lost to the Twins last night, and well, our pitching sucks. So top of the ninth, Diamondbacks scored 4 runs and we were up, and then we just don't have a closer. So we lost, and it's just really annoying. So watching the baseball game today as well. It's nice. I don't have a whole lot to do. I do maybe tomorrow. Well, I have to go to Home Depot. I have to go to Home Depot and get some grass seed, because I got bare spots and also just, you know, thicker. So, and then set up the hose. I've got one of those things that you put on the end of the hose and it goes with the water. This is a tangent. No one cares about my yard work. No one cares about my yard work but me. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to figure out some sort of reading challenge to do. We'll see how far I get today, and I'll check back in later. Okay, y'all, so I read a lot yesterday. Like, I read so much, especially for a slow reader like me. So I continued with Warrior Princess Assassin, And I am now on page 180. So that is almost halfway into the book. So y'all, I'm loving this book so much. Oh my gosh. Also, side note, can you see my Buc-ee's fall t-shirt? Anyways, I am loving this book so much, you guys. Oh my gosh. Even like 40, honestly, okay, from when I first started it, I loved it so much from the very freaking beginning. It's so good. Now, I am halfway through the book, and in their timeline, it's literally been like a day and a half, 2 days at the most. 2 days at the most, and it's the half the book already. So a lot has happened in that day and a half, 2 days. Like, so much has happened. So we're following all 3 points of view in this book. We're following the warrior, who is King Maddox Kyronen. We're following the princess, Jory, and we are also following the assassin, Asher. So 3 points of view. And Jory and Asher honestly make a really dumb decision, and it was mostly Asher's fault. Jory was just a little bit naive and didn't really, she thought Asher wasn't going to do what he did. And it really pissed the king off, what they did. And I don't blame him, because they could have gone about it way, way differently, and then things would have been better. However, King Maddox was traveling from Incendar, his country, to Estranza, where Princess Jory lives. It's her country. And so he traveled there with his most trusted guards, and with the intent of marrying Princess Jory to form an alliance between the 2 countries, because a third country, Dragonius, has been attacking both of them. And so King Maddox is going to loan his army to help defend Estranza, and in return, King Theodore, who is king over Estranza, is going to help change the weather in Incendar so that the people's crops can grow and the land can become more fertile, because his people are starving. So they're forming this alliance, and that is why King Maddox travels to Estranza. Well, then all of these things ensue and mayhem, and they end up not getting married. However, King Maddox gives Jory a month engagement where she is now traveling to Incendar to basically see how she likes it there for a month. And then after that month, they'll decide if they're going to wed or not. So I'm at that point where they're now traveling from Estranza back to Incendar. And y'all, I'm loving this book so much. So much. All of the characters have great personalities, and there's a spark, and I'm really, really enjoying this book. I did not want to put it down yesterday. It's so freaking good. So halfway through, I mean, I'm getting the feels for this book. It is so, so good. So I will check back in with an update once I'm a little bit further into this book, because I'm loving it so much. And I have not listened to any more of Murtagh. So yesterday I did a little bit around the house. Honestly, not enough, because I was too busy reading this. When I was doing the few things around the house that I did, I was watching / listening to YouTube videos and getting caught up on those. Did not read, or rather listen to, any of Murtagh yesterday, but I do have some errands to run today, so I will be listening to Murtagh in the car. But really, really enjoying this book, so much, so much. Okay, y'all. I finished Warrior Princess Assassin. And when I tell you this book was amazing, it was freaking amazing. I loved it so much. Like, the entire thing. I loved the entire thing from the first page to the last page. I swear, I was, I don't know, 10 or 15 pages in, and I'm like, holy cow, this book is really good. Is this gonna be 5 stars? I'm loving this so much. I kept reading and oh my gosh, the whole thing, it was so, so good. I loved this book so much. So we have 3 different characters. The warrior, who is Maddox Kyronen, the princess, who is Marjoriana or Jory, and the assassin, Asher. And honestly, I don't remember what was in my last update because it's been a couple days, and I finished this book probably 2 days ago, and then I've been so busy at work and coming home and literally eating and going to sleep. So I haven't had a chance to update. So I don't even remember what my last update was, but a lot of things happen, and ends up Kai takes Jory and Asher back to Incendar, which is his kingdom. And the journey along the way is fraught with peril. Even when they arrive in his palace, bad things continue to happen. However, through all of that, the 3 of them are continuing to develop all of their relationships. And Jory was kind of the one to initiate or like verbalize all of their feelings for each other, and especially the feelings between Kai and Asher. So Kai knows that Jory and Asher are in love with each other because they've been best friends since they were kids. He knows that. But Jory's kind of the one that says, hey, Asher, like, you have feelings for Kai, right? And she kind of brings that to light and makes them like accept it out loud. So their relationship really comes to a head when they arrive in Incendar. And I thought the intimate scene was a little bit rushed, just because like there had been moments like leading up to it, but they kind of just jumped all in, which I guess, you know, if you finally realize that you all have feelings for each other, then why not? But I really loved the story. I loved their relationships. I loved the overarching plot and all of the twists and turns that we had. Like towards the end, there's a pretty big reveal. And I cannot wait to read the second book. Like seriously, I cannot wait to read the second book. And I'm gonna have to wait a whole year, like, or more, because the second book hasn't even been announced yet. But highly recommend this book. It was so good. Obviously this book is 5 stars. Like, it was amazing. And I read it anytime I had time to read, I was picking up this book to read it. And it's so good. And the Fairy Loot edition is so beautiful. Like, the character art, I just love the character art so much. And it really just adds that extra element to the story. It really just adds that extra element and helps you picture the characters better, obviously. But definitely highly recommend. 5 stars, so good. So I am about halfway through Murtagh, and I'm really liking it. So halfway through, Murtagh and Thorn have finally gotten to like the main adventure, the main problem, the main quest. And previously in the first half of the book, there's all these different side quests that, you know, they have to do before they can get to this main quest. And so and throughout we're learning more about Thorn and Murtagh and all of the terrible things that they went through while they were basically prisoners with Galbatorix, and all of the terrible things Galbatorix did to them, and how terribly he treated Thorn and how terribly he treated Murtagh, and just a lot more that we didn't get in the main 4 Aragon books because they're from Aragon's point of view. So he doesn't know all of the things that Thorn and Murtagh were going through. So I like that we're getting to know them better and the further character development and just them bonding even more and them learning to rely on themselves, because their whole lives, especially Murtagh, they grew up in cities and castles, having servants, people doing things for them, all the thing, you know, doing a bunch of stuff for them. So now they're having to survive on their own, and they're traveling a lot and getting into trouble a lot. So just them surviving on their own. And I'm really enjoying the story. And I'm hoping that further on, Murtagh and Naswarda at least get to see each other again. So we'll see what happens with that. But really enjoying that book. Halfway through. I probably will not finish that for this vlog, because this vlog has to go up in 3 days, and I don't think I'll finish the last 50% in 3 days, but we'll see. So one final note on Visions of Flesh and Blood. So I already mentioned this earlier, how not necessarily worth it if you've already read the books recently. However, it might be worth it if you're really into character art, because each of the main characters, there's a whole page of character art. So this is Poppy, and then you have Castile, and you have Kieran, and you have Malik, and you have Millie, and then you have Sarah and Niktos and all of the people in those books, like Reaver. Let me find that picture of Sarah and Niktos, because it's really good. Oh, or just Niktos by himself. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, the character art to me makes the book really worth it. But I love character art. Like, I really love character art. So it's definitely worth it for me and the character art. And then there's Sarah. So, you know, if you're a big fan of the both series, I would recommend this simply for the character art and the extra additional scenes. I'm not sure on a final rating for that one yet. I don't want to give it a bad rating just because I know most of the information already. So I haven't quite decided what I'm going to rate that book yet. But now that I've finished Warrior Princess Assassin, I'm going to start A False Start by Elsie Silver. And this is the 4th book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. It is the book with the vertical title for my Magical Readathon this month for Autumn Equinox. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this next. So this will be what we're jumping into. And this is the book about Nadia, who is Stefan Dalka's younger sister. So Stefan Dalka was the main character in the previous book, book number 3. So his younger sister. And I believe she hooks up with Stefan's best friend, who is a little bit older than she is. So age gap romance. But we're going to jump into this one next. So I will check back in once I have read probably about 100 pages of this book. Okay, y'all. We're back for an update. And so I started reading A False Start by Elsie Silver. I know I told you I'd update you guys at 100 pages, but when I tell you I started reading this book yesterday and couldn't put it down, yeah, I'm on page 230. So sorry about the glare. I've got my overhead light on right now, but I started reading this book. Well, actually, I started it on Friday night and got like 30 pages into it or so. And then picked it back up yesterday morning, and I did some of G on Book Roast, her sprints for Magical Readathon. So she had them going all day. And I think I did maybe like 3 or 4 of the actual sprints. And just in between different things that I was doing around the house. And I'm on page 230. So I read 200 pages yesterday. So that is a lot for me. Like, that's so much for me. So in this book, we have Nadia, who is Stefan Dalka's sister, younger sister. And then we have Griffin Sinclair, who is Stefan's best friend. Now, we find some things out about Griffin that he used to be a very famous NFL quarterback, and he got tackled and had severe brain injury that caused some problems, and he couldn't play anymore. So that sent him into a spiral, and we find out a lot of different trauma about his life and what happened after he couldn't play football anymore. And that has really affected his life. And then Nadia, which we find out in the third book, Stefan and Mira's book, that Nadia also went through a lot of childhood trauma because her father was abusive and he was a drunk, and her mother was absent, like physically in the house, but absent, and then was abused by the father, and then eventually turned into a drunk herself. And they were both killed in a plane crash. So we find that out in the previous book. So there's a lot of trauma that Nadia has been through in her childhood. So we're kind of working our way through both of those things. But right now I'm 50% of the way through the book. And there's definitely banter. There's definitely angst. There's definitely a little bit of a slow burn, especially because of the age gap. So they know they have feelings for each other, and they are trying to put that off because not only is there a 14-year age gap, but he is her brother's best friend. And her brother doesn't really have any friends, and Griffin also doesn't have any friends. So they definitely don't want to destroy that relationship. Well, then they decide, like, the tension between them is just too much, so they finally give in. So that's where I'm at the point in the book. So we know about their past traumas, but they haven't dealt with them. So we still have to go through and get them through both, dealing with both of their traumas and all the aspects that deal with that, and also dealing with the brother's best friend aspect. So we haven't even got to get your hands off my sister to even remotely approach my best friend and my sister. So if you watch Friends, you'll get it. But we haven't even approached either of those things. So Stefan still doesn't know anything's going on. So he's just as oblivious as everyone is, and hopefully they don't find his underwear in the couch, and Joey just takes the blame for it because he's Joey, and he's Joey. Anyway, that's where we're at in the book. And I'm really liking it. Like, I'm really, really liking it. Like, for me to sit down and read 200 pages in one day, that means the book's really good. So this is my favorite of the series so far. Like, by far, this is my favorite one. And I'm really, really loving it. So I will come back in for another update once I get closer to finish with this book. I don't think I'll actually be able to finish this book in this vlog because the vlog has to go up tomorrow. And I still have 200 pages to read. And it is already noon. I just don't think I'm gonna get through the whole book today. So anyway, I will jump back in for at least one more update for this video. I thought I would change up the scenery a little bit. So I'm over here in front of my fireplace with all my cute little fall decorations. So today I have been able to read quite a bit actually. So in A False Start, I am on page 300, and Griffin and Nadia have finally admitted their feelings for each other and that they actually want to give a real relationship a go. And there's been no talk about how to tell her brother or anyone they know. They're still in the keeping it a secret stage. However, we have just found out that Griffin has something from the past that he hasn't dealt with yet. And his mom was like, you need to deal with this. because she deserves better and she's gonna find out eventually. You need to get your shit together and deal with it. So Griffin has now asked Nadia for a few days to deal with this, and she understands, but she's also pissed. So that's where we're at in this book. I have 100 pages left, and unfortunately, I'm just not gonna be able to finish it in time for this vlog to go up, but I'm really, really enjoying the book. I really, really like it, and at least at this point, 75% of the way through, I'm leaning towards a high 4-star because I really like it. I'm really enjoying it so much. So then in Murtagh, I am on page 400. So I've read this, have not read this. So we're still, I think I'm like 58 or 60% of the way through. So there's not much for me to update you on since I last updated about Murtagh. They're still doing the main quest and they haven't found out very much additional information. The person that they went to see is being very evasive and answering all of their questions with a riddle, or saying like, well, let's not ask and answer questions on an empty stomach until we've eaten. And then after they ate, he's like, okay, Murtagh's like, okay, like answer my questions. And she's like, I'm gonna answer them with a riddle, but please stay the night and stay another day. And so they feel like they're in danger, which they probably are. And this person is not answering their questions. We're still trying to figure out who this person is, what they're trying to do. Are they an enemy to the Empire? You know, that sort of thing. So I'm really liking it. I like Murtagh, obviously. He's like one of my favorite characters in the whole series. And Thorn, obviously, so great. And so I'm really enjoying their relationship and getting to know them better because we barely saw them in the other 4 books. So I'm really, really liking getting to know the characters better. So I'm sure this will be a high 4-star as well as all of the other books in the series have been. So again, really enjoying Murtagh. So I hope you enjoyed this Magical Readathon Autumn Equinox reading vlog. Please let me know down below if you've read these books and you like them, or if you didn't really like them, or some suggestions maybe for next spring semester, the spring equinox, some suggestions for some books that I should read. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.